Hello everyone, welcome back to Tully Television, and today we're going to be reviewing Nightcrawler number 3 from his 2004 ongoing series. Still the same team working on the book so far in issue 3. We did review issue 2 and issue 1. I'm liking the covers so far. It's showing really the things that matter to Kurt most, and it also shows him in some pretty badass poses. For the covers, I like the cover art so far in the first 3 issues. In this 2004 series, it is supposed to be an ongoing series, but I think it lasted only 12 issues. And by now, I feel like I'm definitely invested into this series to complete the 12-issue run. This story doesn't run the whole 12 issues. This is part 3 of 4, and the next issue is going to be basically the end of the Devil Inside story. It gives you a recap of what's been going on. Now, at this point of the story, supposedly Seth's aunt came to try to claim Seth from the hospital, so Dr. Childs can probably continue doing whatever it is he's doing. But currently, we pick up at the Xavier Institute, where Kurt and Emma Frost, with a couple X-men in the back, he's going to go against Kitty Pryde in a fencing match. And being everyone is so lacklusterly bored with this, Logan is just asking Beast if he had a turkey sandwich. Emma's bored, and she kind of jokes and says she wants to see blood, but not really joke. So they kind of just sit around and watch Kurt and Kitty have a fencing match, and it starts to pick up a little bit. And then finally, Kitty gets the point on Kurt. And Spider-Man 2, one of the greatest Spider-Man movies. Then we pick up with Aurora coming in and kind of being upset that Kurt seems to be not really continuing his investigation with Seth and what's been going on in the children's ward and why that happened. Kurt explains as the mist covers his furry little ass. He explains how he needed a breather because it was taking a toll on him, and Aurora, aka Storm, understands that, but there's still a child that needs to be helped, and she says to him, if you do need help, I am a goddess after all. Ha 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 ha. Which is true. She was celebrated as a goddess in the country that she had come from, before she knew she was a mutant and stuff. Basically, Kurt is saying that the nurse is willing to help him out, and that she's going to sneak him in there tonight to try to talk to Seth again. We see Hank McCoy now training in the danger room, and basically Kurt is saying that when he went to that initial house that the doctor was in, where the janitor burnt alive, basically, that he felt like there was evil in that house. So we do a little time forward jump, and we see Seth in his room in the hospital, basically saying to Kurt, you can come out, I know you're there. Kurt makes himself known, because Kurt can camouflage in the shadows pretty well. Kurt is asking him about these clay figures or puppets that he's making, and he made one for each of his friends and one for himself when he dies. And Kurt is kind of like, why would you think you're gonna die? Who told you that? Type of scenario. And Seth is like, you really want to know what are in these things? And he says, yeah, sure, tell me, kid. And Seth says the devil, and that the devil hurt his friends and killed his friends, and that he's basically ready to be taken by the devil. And Kurt says, do you think that Dr. Childs is the devil? The response is by Seth that he doesn't think so because Dr. Childs takes care of him. He's a good person. He feeds and clothes the kids. He really wants to make sure that the kids are receiving the best type of life. And Kurt explains to him about a story about his brother in the traveling circus, and one time everyone thought he went crazy and started killing children, but it wasn't really children, it was demons in disguise. And so what he's trying to tell Seth is sometimes looks can be deceiving. But before that conversation can go on, the nurse comes up and gets Kurt and explains to him that the nurse, the aunt supposedly of Seth, is outside hurting Dr. Childs. Seth wants to go, but Kurt just went without him. So we see Kurt going to where the fight is happening, and the aunt is really trying to kill Dr. Childs. Dr. Childs mentions about how can you get through the circle. Kurt is a little confused, but whatever the case may be, he can teleport to her. He comments about how strong she is for an older woman, and then teleports her basically away from the scenario, so the attack can stop. He teleports it to the nearby church, and she seems to get more insane with this. But then we see a bunch of spirit or ethereal beings coming from her mouth, and basically passes out in the church. We then pick up a little time later with Kurt and Amanda Sefton. As we know in episode 2 of this series, issue 2, they were lovers, friends, allies, and she has knowledge about these type of things. Kurt is, I don't know why superheroes are always like, oh, I don't believe in ghosts or this or that, or it's impossible. Like, how many times have you seen people come back to life in comic books and you're still like, this can't be true? But we learned that this is not the real aunt of Seth. She was a homeless woman living in a shelter, and that Dr. Childs got her, cleaned her up, fed her, and basically fed her a bunch of lines to say, but Seth is not her nephew, basically. And then we see Amanda trying to read her mind about what was going on in her brain, and kind of confirms like Dr. Childs had did something to her, and she said that she had felt presences in her that escaped when Kurt brought her to the church, and that how much how much that took a toll on her. And she keeps referencing the 13 spirits in her, just like Seth was early in the issue. But the number 14 keeps coming up, so there's one missing. And the reason why 14 is because in the great war between Lucifer and God, Lucifer had 14 angels backing him up that all wound up turning into demons. And that's where this is leading. It seems like someone is maybe trying to release these 14 demons into the world so Lucifer can perhaps recapture some sort of power. And then finally, the woman who was thought to be Seth's aunt said there's one more out there and it's locked away somewhere, until it finally dawns on Kurt possibly what that can mean, and that Seth could be the 14th spirit to be sacrificed or something, or taken. And then we see Dr. Childs here at the hospital telling the nurse to get his car ready, that him and Seth are gonna go basically on a trip. We see Seth here getting ready to talk to Dr. Childs. And you see Amanda and Nightcrawler wrapping up their conversation about what to do. And we see then the doctor's taking Seth to a private place to continue his treatment. And then we leave off here basically saying whatever's in you or tying you down is going to be cut free. Look behind his back. And even when the clay figures are like, oh no! Little red Pillsbury Doughboys, it reminds me of. And then we see the look on Seth's face, the full moon. And that's basically where we leave off this issue. And in the next issue is going to be the conclusion of this story. And I liked this initial story so far. It really touches base on Kurt's beliefs, his way of thinking with stuff, and it's really good to see characters are like getting a shot out of series. I kind of recently went through The Way of X #1, which kind of spotlights Kurt 2, but in a more modern title, 2021 at the time of this recording. This series I'm reviewing is a 2004 series, so almost 20 years old, that alone, you know. The art's fantastic, the writing is fine so far. I haven't really found any things to complain about that are outside of nitpicking. I'm more of a fan of the art on this series though. And yeah, that's it. That's issue 3. And I'm going to be getting issue 4 within the next couple weeks of this recording, so I can finish up that part. And then going to be getting the future issues of that, 5 through 7, and see where that goes. And as I'm continuing to do Way of X 2, I'm going to do that. That's a pretty good series so far. It seems like the main antagonist is going to be Legion, and his multiple personalities. So we see how it goes as Kurt is trying to create a religion for the X-Men to follow. But thanks so much, guys, for stopping by. Like, hit the bell notification, subscribe, comment, share, all that beautiful YouTube stuff. Without you guys, this channel can't grow. I want to thank Tim for helping out, Smokey Bishop, aka I want to thank Chrissy. I want to thank Jordan. I want to thank all the people watching. Let's get more people in. Let's spread this community, baby. The road to 75 subscribers still continues and marches on today. And it can't get done without you guys. Let's go, baby. Let's bring this channel to the moon, baby! It's only done with you guys by my side, hand in hand. And until next time, peace, nipples.